Brothers and sisters, and welcome back to Talk That Talk. I have not come on for a little bit, a couple of days, few weeks, whatever it is, whatever time has passed. Today, even though you see Call of Duty playing in the background, this is not about video games. This is not about video games. This is the only way I know how to do YouTube, but I'm gonna learn how to make videos from my phone very soon. All right, why am I here today? I'm here today to talk about the problems in this world that we live in. And for us as a species to survive, things have to change. And there will be a lot of blood and a lot of death and a lot of hard work to get to the point where humanity must realize that they see each other as brothers and sisters, and not one is higher than the other. Now that is not just a revolution, that is an evolution. Let me start with my people, black people. I love my brothers and sisters like I love no other. From the entire continent of Africa through the entirety of the diaspora that is in America, Latin America, and throughout the Caribbean and wherever else we may find ourselves on this globe. To my people, my black people, it is time for us to come together, and it's time for us to save this world. No disrespect to anyone or group of people that had power after the last black empire fell. But if we as a people do not take control and take our necessary step as a people in this world, the world will die. It is dying. Whether you believe that or not. We need to remove the leaderships out of our community that does not do nothing but benefit themselves, like all the rest of them. That is not our way as a people, and it has never been. We have had kings and queens and empires, even on the continent of which our birth, but they never did the poor like these people do. They speak of God, they speak of truth, and it's only a diversion to enrich themselves. My brothers and sisters, I speak of an empire, the Terran Empire. An empire that will cover not only the continent of Africa, but every tongue, every land, and every one that sits upon this planet we all call Earth. What is the Terran Empire, you ask? Like all things else that are born, that come out of the continent of Africa, it will change the world. My people, we have spreaded our culture to every corner of the world. Everyone knows about us, and we supposed to have never done nothing in human history. Everybody takes our music. Everybody takes our culture. And when we make an empire, every man and woman, child on this earth will take it. But we must first enjoy this evolution, this internal revolution of self, mind, body, and spirit. How do we begin this process? And how do the empire will be born? The empire must be born within yourself as a human being, as a person. Forget the tribe. Forget African American, Tanzanian, South African, Egyptian, all the rest of that is but crap, lies, and shit that men have made up to divide the great family of the African continent. When we secure the unification of the African people, who are now the Terran people, then we unify the entirety of all of humanity, no matter if they are from the mothers of Europe and the brothers of Russia or China or the whole of Asia or all of Latin America down to the itty bitty islands out in the Pacific. There must be a change if humanity is to survive. How does this survival work? The survival works because the government and the power that sits in the world must be done and bow down to the people. And the people must be smart. The people cannot be dumb. This is the one thing that leaders throughout human history have always depended on. The foolishness of those that they're supposed to be the caretakers of. The empire is not just an empire for us, but for all the peoples in the world that have endured injustice. For all of you brothers and sisters that watch Black Panther, Killmonger was not just about black people. Yes! I ain't got any. It's not just about black people. It's about all of us. But if this is to work, family, we must bring ourselves back together. If we start to see ourselves as one people and make it something that the world can see itself as one people, then we're well on our way to making the Terran Empire a reality. The tenets are the truth. No lying to the people. No made up stuff. No statistics, because you can make anything, say anything you want on a piece of paper. You know, they sit there and they say, well, the inner cities is full of blood. America is full of blood. America is a person or a place that is always bleeding, and America has always had crime. For us as African Americans, for the Italian Americans, the Irish Americans, notice how we have to separate what is America just among Americans? How much is that separation is upon people of the planet? You are this tribe, you are this nation. No, my brothers and sisters. No. There is but one nation. There is but one people, and there is but one God. One God, one people, one nation. All this knowledge and technology does not belong to one group of people alone. Our music can't belong to us. The culture that we have spread to every continent under the sun does not belong to us. So neither does the knowledge and power that resides in other nations belong to them alone. Because one mind, one hand sparked the fire to make something a reality in a place that it didn't even start in. That is the reality of the world we live in. Take Marxism, for example. Even though Marxist, the name, the guy is a German. He's German. And yet, in that very same nation, where Karl Marx comes from, his nation took on the mantle of Nazism, National Socialism. And his nation turned its guys to fight the nation that took on Marxism and communism in Russia. That is the history. Now I'll give you another one. Right now in this world today, where do you think the most white supremacists reside? Think for 1 second. Do not say the United States of America, because we all know America has a white supremacist mentality, that mentality which is killing the world. There's a whole bunch of people that ain't even white that subscribe to the white supremacist mentality. But this is not a bashing of white people. Let me say something to you. White supremacist is just as dangerous for your survival as a white person as it is to mine as being a black one. That's why one day I would like to say we are not black nor white or anything, we are Terran. Let me continue. In today's world, in the globe in which we live, the majority of white supremacists reside in the country of the former Soviet Union of Russia. and realize this is an area of the world where the very same white supremacists, less than a century ago, intended to slaughter every Slavic person in the world. In the world. And now more people in the Slavic lands in the world who are descendants of the Russians and Croatians and what they call themselves, I'm trying to think of the name of that place, Ukraine, right? Right? Think for 1 second what it means that more people follow the National Socialist belief, and the National Socialists had no interest in those people even existing. Funny, isn't it? That's the white supremacist mindset. My people is better than yours. My skin color has a meaning. Well, let me speak of the white supremacists in general, and why you need to stop being white supremacists and come under the Terran Empire with us, the blacks, and every other group in the world. You are dying. You are becoming extinct. And without our genes, the black folks' genes, your race will be extinct. Now, the Terran Empire is about saving all of humanity, even your portion of it. You know, it is said, if you're going to bake a pie or save a pie that's being baked, you can't cut a chunk out of it and keep the rest of the pie. It's no longer a pie, it's a piece of a pie. No matter how small or large it is, it's still not a pie unless you have every portion of it. Now, let me go further about the white supremacist mindset. This mindset has reduced us as black people, who I call now Terrans, as nothing in the history of the world. That is a lie. And people will believe anything the little idiot box tells them. Television is the most powerful tool that the world has ever seen. Now, the Bible was the same as a weapon, and so was the Quran. These two books were the two weapons of mass destruction that millions of people that died by. Am I lying? Was not the Bible used to justify slavery, mass murder, and annihilation of the whole Native American peoples in this hemisphere? Yes, it was. Enslavement, the rape and murder of people who were just slightly different from the other people. In the Quran, a book of God has been promoted as a weapon of mass destruction that's the same. See what I'm saying? People talk about God, but they don't know about God. And when God becomes a weapon of mass destruction, the Almighty turns him or her head away from us. And God is not looking upon us now because we have disappointed the Maker. For us as black people, it's down to the very churches or synagogues or mosques that we go to. When the people that's supposed to be guarding us spiritually only cares about what is in your pocket, then it is dead. You sit here and you doubt me, but doubt me not. I am telling you the truth. You know, when Muhammad, after he died, and they came to spread Islam east into what is Persia and west to what is Africa. And believe me, North Africa has not always looked like North Africa does today. With the coming of Islam, there was an annihilation and slavery on a level that you cannot imagine. And Islam does not approve of slavery and rape. And yet, for a long time, Islam spread it just like that. Oh, nobody says Islam spread like that today. Oh, but it still does. The rape and murder of the Sudanese people that did not want to take on Islam. How many of them had to die to spread your Islam? How many of you thinking that you're going to make it to heaven through rape and murder, and that you listen to a man at a pew and not in your own heart, that makes you think you're going to make it to heaven, Christian or Muslim. There's a whole lot of people that claim to carry a book in their hand and claim to be that of a person of the cloth or of the papacy that are in hell today. I say that because they have not had an evolution or a revolution of their spirit. We talk of the devil. Islam talks of the great Satan. The devil and Satan is not something that's on your shoulder. That is nothing that is beside you manifesting. It's already in your heart. It's in your blood. It's in your bones. People know when they do things wrong, even if they don't feel it. They know it. And all the wrongs you do to a person or people or to this earth that you live on, it racks your body with guilt. Rather you feel it emotionally, you show the hell will feel it physically. We cannot be racist, my people, because all the other races owe their existence to us. It is our responsibility now to unite our people under one flag, one nation, and one God. And it's time to take that message to all the other nations and all the other peoples of this great earth that we live on. It's time for us to be an empire. A real empire. Yes, I know there will be these stupid people that want these divisions and think, oh, we don't need this, we don't need that. The worst thing about a nigga is not what they don't know they need. After a month or a year later, like, wow, you know what, you was right. That's the worst thing about a nigga. And when I said nigga, I don't mean black people. That can be any one of you of any other color copia of people. It is time for us to move on from being predatory on other human beings. For me to get ahead, I must walk upon you that is below me. Is that's not the devil? I ain't never heard of something that's so much like him. Let's speak of old Lucifer down in the pit, so they say. But that pit is not a burning hole in the ground. It's the burning emotion and soul that you have in your body. Listen. And listen well. Lucifer rebelled against God because God made his humans above his angels. And Lucifer said, why should we be below them? We are better than them. Doesn't it sound like a supremacist of any nation? We are better than them. And so Lucifer rebelled. And he tried to reach God so high. And the angel Michael and Gabriel had to stop their brother. And make no mistake, like any family, even one that is celestial like God and his sons and daughters that are in heaven, they are family. And God had to send his favorite of all his sons before Jesus to hell. Wow. Ain't that deep? You didn't know God and the devil was related? Oh yeah, God and the devil are related. For if God did not see Lucifer as one of his sons, why would he not just destroy him? He could have, but he didn't. That's what you all as humanity keep forgetting. The devil is one of God's children, like you are. Black people are God's children. White people, Asian people, all the peoples of the earth are God's children. And like the devil, you believe you are better than your brothers and your sisters that may have a different color and a different hair texture. What I say today, we don't believe in that no more. It is a hard road that will take centuries, my brothers and sisters, but it's a road that needs to be plowed, because without it, humanity will die. We are killing ourselves every day with the lies that we see on the idiot box. We are killing ourselves every day with what we eat. We are killing ourselves every day by the very money that we know that is the root of all evil. Let me take it to a video game that I love, and I call it, it has a name, it's called Dragon Age, right? And there's a small script from this game where it says, magic is meant to serve man and not to rule over him. Money was meant to serve man and not to be ruled over him and not to become your God. But to so many of you that sit on this planet, money is your God. Money is your Lord and Savior instead of the father or mother that sits in heaven today. You have forgotten the very meaning of that word. You speak of Jesus, or you speak of Allah, you speak of anything, Yahweh, Vishnu, whatever you wish to believe. But the day you believe that you are better than your brothers and sisters, then you are the devil. Let's go through it and look what it was. In the very Bible we all call and think about so much. Cain slew his brother out of jealousy. Why? He wanted to be the supreme of the brothers between Cain and Abel. And this is a problem of parentage of people in the very house. That's another thing that must be reformed. Not just the church, not just the governments of the world, but the home and family of the world. You cause your sons and daughters to hate each other when you show favoritism to one over the other. I know a lot of you are going to say that's not true. Oh, yes, it is. How many families out there in this world that don't talk to each other because they feel one brother or one sister or one child or one anything was treated better than all the rest? Now, some people can get past that, but there are many families where they do not. You know, it's always the kid that got treated best always feel like, well, you'll get over it, but you didn't get over it, did you? Not really. You never do. Let's talk about reforms. Though they always want to put reforms on black people. We need to reform this, reform that. What reforms need to go forth in the world? The first reform is a religious reform, where the spiritual life must stay in a spiritual place. Religion was never meant to be a government force. That is a mistake. And I will tell you why. The governing head of the people of the state of Israel in Palestine was the Sanhedrin. What did the Sanhedrin do? They put the Son of God on the cross with the enemy of the Jewish people, the Romans. Oh, the Romans was innocent. Their hands were clean. They wanted Jesus just as dead as the Sanhedrin did. Rome was all about its empire and money, and the Sanhedrin was making sure they kept that money. See, it's always those men that say they're so moral and so righteous and so upright, that feel that they are right. Listen to that word, upright, and feel they are right to kill you. Let's talk about America's Jesus. Oh, there's been many martyrs for this nation. There's Lincoln, there's Kennedy, two of them. There's Martin Luther King, there's Medgar Evers, and how many more will shed their blood for the love of this nation that treats us like shit? You know that capital that you guys love so much, that Washington, D.C., that sits off the coast, well, in between two states. You know that city is an African city in the middle of America. And most of you don't even know that. You think Washington, D.C. looks the way it does because it's some ideals back to Rome? My friend, that is ancient Egypt. There's an obelisk in the middle of the city by the water. Look at ancient Egypt. Look at the ancient Egypt. Look at the place where one of the places where my ancestors come from, and it is Mimic. I will give you another one. Ancient Carthage that the Romans destroyed. Your capital house looks like the house where the Senate that the Carthaginians used to have. You think it's Rome, but it's really Africa. A lot of things are African that are around us that we don't see every day. But this is not just about Africa. This is about the whole world. As I say, brothers and sisters, we have to grow beyond labels and skin color. We have to grow beyond that. But back to reform. If we are to really find ourselves, really grow ourselves as a species, as a race on this planet, we have to go beyond that. Yes, it will start with black people like everything does. But once it does, the Terran Empire is for everybody. Everybody. It's for the Asian people, it's for the white people, it's for the black people, it's for the Latino people. And that day we removed that label, black, white, Asian, Latin, which does just all made up term. We're all just human anyway. We must get to that place where we see each other and not as something that we can get over on. Let's go with men and women. When you're a young man, is your first ideal as a young man, they say it's just in your genes to want to screw as many women as you can. That is a lie. That is something that is learned like everything else in this world. If you are a hoe, you're just a hoe anyway. You could be a hoish man or a hoish woman. But that's not a person you should marry. No. If you feel like you want to go screw any and everything, then you not need to be with a good person that wants to get married. Because in the Terran Empire, one of the foundations of this empire is one man, one woman, and children, and family. The empire starts from the bottom and goes up to the top. It does not start at the top and go to the bottom. That is bull crap, and that will never work. That is the first reform. The family, the church, whatever religion you believe in. It must be about and for the people. It must be a help, not a hindrance. It must be something that is put in to the community, in to help the family, in to help the people, not to take money to enrich yourself. How many pastors, religious leaders, no matter what they pray, have a nice car and a nice house, but they go to a crap neighborhood to go preach their message? That ain't Jesus, and that is not Allah. That is not Yahweh. That is not the way to get to heaven. It is easier for a camel to enter the gates of heaven and go through an eye of a needle than a rich man. How many of these rich men who have all this money, this nice pretty car, this nice pretty wife or husband, whatever they want to have, and thinking they're going to make it to heaven and they don't have a chance in hell? It's all about the will, brothers and sisters. It's just rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling because we are not strong enough to change it. It will take centuries, like I said, but eventually the empire will come, the great houses will come, and peace and love will be everywhere. There will still be those that have hard lives. But the government's job is to help those that are least of these, not those at the top that have the most. There will always be rich and poor, but we must make sure that the poor don't live on the street. You know, my girlfriend that's Filipino, she showed me some things when she was going to the market one day. I couldn't believe it. But I should know that better because I see it right here, and we're supposed to be the greatest nation in the world. Let's talk of the Bible one more time, because today, this is just the first time I'm talking of the empire. Let's talk about the poor. You know, the greatest punishment that God has always put upon nations and people is how you treat the least of these. Jesus came to help the sick and the poor, not the rich. But people think, well, you mean those that are poor? And no, poor in spirit and poor in financial means. He came to help them. Right? Let's talk of Sodom and Gomorrah. Everybody talks about the indignities of the flesh. God destroyed that city because of what they did to the poor. The people's, what they had mistreated was screaming so loud God could hear them in heaven. It's because of how they treated the least of these. My people, on a global scale, it is an evolution and a revolution of the way we must see each other. Yeah, there may be this thing inside you, I don't like this person, but you still have to do your job to help them. It is your duty as another human being to another human being. I tell you, the truth is out there, and all you have to do is listen and read. Now, there's some lies out there too to mislead you, but you must be in your heart and spirit, and we will make mistakes and things will happen and wars will come. That is just the nature of the world we live in. But the Terran Empire must happen if humanity is to survive. It doesn't matter what church you have, no matter if it's Allah or Jesus or the Mother Mary. We must put all the world's people under one flag. After we do that, we must change their tongue. There must be one language and one way of writing across the board. No one's saying that we get rid of other people's languages or the way they write. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying every nation and every group of people in the world must know to read and write in this one language. And then they can go anywhere around the world and there will be no language barrier, no matter where they go. And it cannot be English, and it cannot be this, or it cannot be that. This must be decided the hard way. With one language, one people, one nation, one God, humanity can be saved. But you must take men's tongues. We must take the things out of us that divide us as a people and make us one race, one nation, one God. Brothers and sisters, I thank you for listening to me. I thank you for hearing me. I will give a shout out to the love of my life, Jennifer. She is Filipino. I am black, but now I no longer use that term. I say I am Terran. And my ancestors are the African persuasion. I am part of the African diaspora, which includes some Latin Americans, some Caribbeans, and America and other places as well. But one day I hope that word Terran will mean the same thing to me as the whole world, that we are one people. But those reforms need to happen, not just on a political level, but on the internal side. One love and God bless to all the peoples of the world. For this is just the beginning of a movement that I hope one day will catch fire on every continent. It will be hard, but being hard is a part of the world we live in. We must make it easier for the poor, to the middle, to the top, so we are one people. God bless and good night. Thank you.